A car crashes into a Mexican restaurant in Sandy. What we know about the driver behind the wheel as we hear from a witness that saw it all unfold. Plus, weeks after the disappearance of Arizona mother Nancy Guthrie, kidnapping survivor Elizabeth Smart now telling her family not to give up hope. And as Utah loses one film festival this year, another will continue to call Utah home. Get a peek at the movies head to screens this morning in southern Utah.
Live and streaming, this is KSL News Now.
Of course, this and a lot more on KSL News Now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Carlson. We'll get to all of that here in just a minute. If you're going to a film festival here this weekend, Kristen's in for Matt, you're going to have some great weather out there.
Oh, it's going to be really nice. It's starting off a little cloudy. It looks a little dreary out there this morning, but we'll eventually see these clouds break up as some drier air works its way into the state. This is a live look from Ensign Peak, and you can see that really nice looking sunrise this morning. It's 43 degrees. Northwest winds coming in at 5. And then as we head through the day, temperatures will continue to climb. 9 a.m., mid-40s, and then we're in the mid-50s by noon. Breaking out into some sunshine, highs today in the upper 50s, average high is 49, so we are going to be running close to 10 degrees above average. Your school day forecast showing those temperatures again, low 40s in the morning and eventually in the mid to upper 50s when the kids head home from school. So layer it up when it comes to their outfits. They may be running around in t-shirts this afternoon. That's what my kids were doing yesterday with the nice little warm up. Satellite radar showing that the showers are done, and you can see we do have partly to mostly cloudy skies, a mix of mid and high clouds out there this morning, sometimes bringing in some extra color for the sunrises. But it's dry from Utah back to the west coast, and that means we have more dry weather to come. We have some warmer weather coming in too, but then it all changes later in the weekend. I'm tracking a storm. I'll have more on that coming up in a minute.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Kristen. While Sundance has decided to leave Utah, another film festival will continue to call Utah home. The Utah International Film Festival, back for its 16th year, continuing its tradition of showcasing powerful, real-life stories on the big screen. Organizers say this event brings global storytelling to southern Utah. News specialist Tyrese Boone, live for us with a preview. Good morning, Tyrese.
Good morning, Brian. Utah will be showcasing about 57 new documentaries over the next 3 days and highlighting filmmakers from not only across the country, but across the world as well. So for this festival, it will run for February 26th through the 28th at the Megaplex Theaters at Sunset in St. George. Many of the films are making their regional premieres, giving southern Utah audiences an early look at new documentaries, covering a wide range of topics and perspectives. In addition to those screenings, the festival also includes free Doc Talk masterclasses at Utah Tech University, offering further opportunities for community engagement.
And the best things about this is it gives our students an opportunity to meet and work with professional filmmakers. They get to see the inner workings of how a festival is put together.
Now, the festival not only showcases films, but also strengthens connections between filmmakers, students, and the community. Now, this should be an exciting event, guys, this upcoming weekend. So if you would like to learn a little bit more about it, or maybe even go visit, you can learn more at KSL.com. Reporting live, Tyrese Boone, KSL 5 News. Back to you, Brian.
Sounds like an entertaining time. Thank you much, Tyrese. Appreciate the update out there this morning. Meanwhile, the time now is 4 after the hour. Snowplows in northern Utah, they'll no longer have to wait for red lights. That's thanks to a new smart technology installed in the plows and nearly 13,000 traffic lights. UDOT says the equipment installed on those lights will detect when a snowplow is approaching and turn the light green. UDOT says it will make the road safer by allowing plows to move through the intersections faster. UDOT hopes to eventually get the technology to first responder cars as well. And then check out this shocking moment during lunchtime at a well-beloved Mexican food restaurant in Sandy. A car crashed right into it. Now, amazingly, no one was seriously hurt. Police suspect an elderly woman behind the wheel was driving under the influence. Take a look here. Cameras captured the moment inside when a white SUV plowed into the front of the restaurant just as the noon rush hour was starting. The impact almost knocked a wall down and pushed tables into diners. KSL spoke with one man that witnessed the whole thing happen.
And all of a sudden there was this loud boom, and glass went flying and a table went flying, and I thought, who did what? And then I could see the dust and smoke, and I thought, okay, there's something more serious. So I leaned forward and saw that there was a car.
Now, the owners tell us they're glad everyone's okay and they hope to reopen. later sometime today. And we have new developments in the latest month's hit and run in South Salt Lake. A Magna man under arrest, accused of hitting a cyclist driving over a 51-year-old man with a truck and a trailer and then just driving off. Witnesses say the 26-year-old driver took a turn there at 33rd South and Main Street too sharply, ran over the man and dragged him for a time before leaving the scene. Police say the victim may never recover from his injuries. And this morning, a 69-year-old woman in southern Utah has now been missing for 4 weeks. DeEtte Spencer, last seen January 26, leaving her daughter's home in Colorado. But instead of heading straight to her house in Escalante, police say she went in the opposite direction, was spotted on Walmart security cameras in Price. Her family members have searched hundreds of miles through Utah, tracing for her possible routes, but so far found nothing.
We're really scared that she's out there somewhere, stuck in a snowbank or on a dirt road where she has no contact with anybody.
You feel the concern. A Silver Alert for her says she's diagnosed as bipolar and may have dementia. Anyone who may know where she is should call the Garfield County Sheriff's Office. And a former BYU football player makes his first court appearance since being kicked off the team and out of the school. Parker Kingston, accused of raping a woman in her St. George home last year. Kingston appeared at the evidentiary hearing virtually, while prosecutors and representatives for the alleged victim were in the courtroom. Kingston's now currently out of jail on bail, required to wear an ankle monitor. He's expected back in court next month. Then in Summit County, day 3 of the Corey Richens murder trial was a short one, lasting less than an hour. The judge says he had to cut it short for an emergency on his schedule. In that brief time, a crime scene technician again took the stand who'd been introduced on Tuesday. Corey Richens is accused of poisoning and killing her husband with fentanyl, then writing a children's book on grief. She's pled not guilty. And taking a live look now to the top of the KSL broadcast house here in downtown Salt Lake. The sun trying to make an appearance on this Thursday morning. Not quite succeeding just yet, but I have a feeling it's all going to change here, Kristen.
It is. We're going to see those clouds break up as we head through the day. Some drier air starting to push in, and it's going to mean a nice and warm day. If you're headed up skiing, we got some fresh snow. This was a look at Alta yesterday. A little bit sticky with that snow. Those snow levels were around 8,500, 9,000 feet. In fact, we did even mix in some rain in places like Brighton and back through Park City area. But we did eventually get some snow totals going, 7 to 9 inches in the Cottonwoods, and then Park City picking up 5 inches, Beaver Mountain picking up 5 inches, and Powder Mountain picking up several inches as well. This is a live look at Deer Valley. You can see the clouds are lingering this morning, and we are going again to see those break up. So if you are headed up, make sure you do grab the sunscreen as those clouds do try to break up a bit. They've already broken up in eastern Utah. You can see cloud cover kind of coming in from the northwest, but it is going to continue to move on out. Low to mid 40s in northern Utah, upper 40s to start the day in St. George, and mid 30s in Moab. So it's chilly, but we warm things up nicely this afternoon. Low 50s in Cache Valley, upper 50s Wasatch Front, mid 70s in St. George, and upper 60s in Moab.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Kristen. To Europe this morning, where delegates for the U.S. and Iran now meeting right now in Geneva for another round of nuclear talks. Those talks aimed at a diplomatic resolution to restricting Iran's nuclear program. The third round of indirect negotiations comes as President Donald Trump has built up a massive military presence there in the Middle East. He's also threatened to strike Iran if a deal isn't met. Now to Arizona, where well into the 4th week to find missing Arizona mom Nancy Guthrie. Police say they've received hundreds of tips since the Guthrie family raised the reward to return her to $1 million. There was an influx of police yesterday at Nancy Guthrie's home. 2 law enforcement sources tell NBC News that officers were there to prepare the home to be released to the Guthrie family. And kidnapping survivor Elizabeth Smart has a message for people like the Guthrie family going through this. She tells the Deseret News that families should never give up hope, saying in part, "I came back and I was gone for 9 months. J.C. Duggar came back and she was gone for years. I mean, we do come back. So don't give up hope. Don't stop searching. Don't stop praying. Keep looking. Keep believing that it is possible because we do come back." She also says to keep her story alive and keep your missing loved one's face out in the public, adding if her story wasn't as big as it was, she says there's a good chance she would not have come back alive. Turning now to a consumer alert affecting Utah here this morning. 3 types of Walmart's Great Value brand cottage cheese are being recalled in 24 states. The FDA says the manufacturer for the cheese discovered issues with the pasteurization process and then voluntarily issued the recall. The products affected were sold between February 17th and February 20th. So if you have those products in your home, you shouldn't eat them, and Walmart says you can return them for a refund. The FDA has reported that no illnesses or anyone hospitalized has been tied to that recall. And as of now, 1 out of every 8 Americans has taken the GLP-1 weight loss drugs like Ozempic. While many have found success in using those injections, experts are urging more people to include mental health in your conversation. Some studies show improvements in people's mood, but others show the opposite, particularly for those with pre-existing conditions. Some studies suggest a potential increased risk for anxiety or depression. Dr. Kristen Francis with the Huntsman Mental Health Institute says to be careful when exploring these weight loss options.
So we would say you need to proceed with caution and keep, a good eye on your depressive and anxious symptoms.
Health experts also warn against using the medication as a replacement for healthy habits, but instead as a tool in building a healthy lifestyle. Take a look at your weather out there. That'll make you people happy out there, Kristen.
Yeah, we're going to get rid of some of these clouds later on today and warm things up. 43 degrees right now. Northwest winds coming in at 5, so chilly, but not too bad. Low 40s across most of the valley floor. You have some colder spots like West Jordan, 38. Then, of course, you get up to Park City, Kimball Junction, 37 to 38 degrees there. Up at Alta right now, it's 31. But for this time of the year, and in the morning, that's actually pretty mild. Your hourly forecast for today, mid-40s as we head through 9 a.m., mostly cloudy, becoming partly cloudy to even mostly sunny at times this afternoon, mid to upper 50s for highs, and then partly cloudy tonight with temperatures in the upper 40s by 7 p.m. Conditions will remain dry. It's dry all the way back towards the west coast right now. So we'll have these clouds that are kind of in and out. We're never going to completely get rid of the clouds. They're going to linger into the weekend, but our temperatures are going to stay well above average. In fact, more than 10 degrees above average over the next few days. This is this evening, partly cloudy. We go into tomorrow, partly cloudy again. Occasionally mostly cloudy, but no precip. Saturday evening, we start to see some rain coming in, and it's going to affect Oregon, California, Nevada. And then by Saturday night, we could see some light rain trying to push into the West Desert. And then it continues to come in, not in a big way, though. Far northern Utah early Sunday morning could see a chance for some rain. And along the Wasatch Front, we can't rule out a stray shower Sunday, but most of the day will be dry. Most of the weekend's going to be dry. Really just a nice weather for the weekend. We'll have a lot of sunshine down south. But this is going to get more organized heading into the early part of next week, so that by Monday, rain likely in northern Utah, high mountain snow, very similar to that last storm where we had the snow levels around 8,500, 9,000 feet. Same thing here. We may have rain coming down in Park City at times because of how warm this storm looks. But we will have rain in the valleys. We will have that high mountain snow lingering through Monday night. Tuesday is heading east, so we'll keep a few leftover showers around early Tuesday, but gradually clearing out. And then a more interesting storm coming in late Wednesday. This one could be a bit colder. So Wednesday's dry. Wednesday night, rain developing, mountain snow, northern and central Utah. But we could have some colder air mixing in to bring the snow levels down a lot lower with this system. Still keeping it mainly rain for valleys now, but that could change. So something to keep an eye on mid to late week next week could be pretty interesting with a colder storm moving in. Today, upper 50s, mid 70s down south, 7-day forecast St. George, mid to upper 70s through the weekend. Gorgeous weather there. Then low to mid 70s next week, maybe some rain to talk about by the end of the week. And then for the Wasatch Front, we have highs in the upper 50s today, and then we're in the low 60s Friday through the weekend. Spring fever, here we come this weekend. And then a chance for some rain Monday and more unsettled weather going into the middle part of next week. So warming up for now.
And that we've been dealing with all winter long. Looking forward to it again. Thank you, Kristen. Turning now to Utah's Capitol Hill, a new bill up for debate is focused on the state's vote-by-mail system and looks to require voter ID at the ballot drop box. House Bill 479 passed its first hurdle, moving through a House committee with an 8-3 vote. The only 2 Democrats on the committee joined 1 Republican voting against the bill. Lawmakers in favor say they support election security, while those opposed question what it will cost to pay poll workers to guard ballot drop boxes and if limited hours will hurt voter turnout.
The people really want security in their elections.
We have a huge industry that a lot of people do work at night, and they're going to be limited to when they can return their ballots.
Now, the push for ID at the ballot drop box comes after Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson's office released data review of non-citizens voting in Utah elections. It shows that only one person that was ineligible to vote registered to do so, but they never actually cast a ballot. This bill now heads to the Utah House for consideration. It passed, it wouldn't start until 2029. Utah schools also in focus this morning. A bell-to-bell cell phone ban, now one step closer to becoming law. SB 69 passed the Utah House in a 46-21 vote after lawmakers made some changes, including a portion that would require school districts to allow parents to request an accommodation letting their child briefly use their phones during, quote, non-instructional time. The bill also outlines some exceptions for using the Safe UT app, addressing a small problem or responding to an emergency.
Cell phones get in the way oftentimes and distract from that work that's being done in the classrooms.
It absolutely oversteps the local school boards.
Now, the bill still allows school districts to set their own cell phone policy and now heads back to the state Senate for a final vote before heading to Governor Cox's desk for signature. The governor has been a vocal advocate of the bill and is expected to sign it into law. And another bill that would require landlords to give tenants a 60-day notice to increase rent stalled yesterday in committee. Supporters say it would help renters who face rising costs. But a landlord group argues against it, citing flexibility concerns. This is the fourth straight year lawmakers have considered the proposal without passing it. Those are just a few of the record number of bills lawmakers introduced this year. By our count, more than 1,000 bills have been filed just so far this session. That's well over last year's record of 959. The session wraps up March 6th. That's next Friday. All right, maybe you jog a little for exercise, maybe even run 10Ks or a marathon. But we'll bet you haven't run nearly as far as a Utah man you're about to meet, who, as Peter Rosen reports, despite the odds, has really gone the distance.
A little anger can go a long way on the trail and in life. This is Eric Johnson today. And this is Eric Johnson with his 5 siblings.
There's a difference between being poor and being impoverished.
And a single mom.
Like, we were impoverished.
In Appalachian, Virginia, where his grandpa lived in a house like this, and rich people had carpet.
They got money. They got carpet.
But he didn't feel less than until his family moved to Utah.
I talk different, act different, look different. For like 2 years, I didn't have any friends.
It was that shame and anger that motivated him to work his way out of poverty.
Yeah, I'm out of this. I'm getting out of this. I am going to prove people wrong.
And with a love of science and learning, got him here.
You're on a pretty low dose, so I'll just make a note of that.
To a career as a physician assistant.
Okay.
But his journey goes far beyond the doctor's office. When the former high school runner discovered ultra-marathons.
1992, Wasatch 100, that was my first 100.
100 miles and longer.
Started adding, I've got desert hundreds, I've got big mountain hundreds, more and more hundreds.
There was nothing stopping him. Not the cold.
Minus 41 in International Falls.
Not a swamp.
Swamp 100. In the swamps.
In the swamp.
In the swamp.
Not while crossing the Grand Canyon and back 3 times.
Like I was hallucinating.
Hallucinations.
Like a giant rabbit that was a boulder.
Not a daunting 1,000-mile race on the Iditarod Trail, which he ran twice. And not by a diagnosis of advanced high-risk prostate cancer.
External beam radiation, 2 outpatient surgeries, hormone blockers.
Did you stop running?
No. There really wasn't ever a question, like, I'm not stopping. Why?
And in fact, he challenged himself to finish a race in under 30 hours.
Less than 24 hours before, I had slid off the radiation table, drove to Logan, and done the race.
And did finish with about 30 seconds to spare.
You kind of just want to go out swinging. If you're going to go down, you go out swinging.
With the cancer behind him, though not yet in remission, he's racked up the equivalent
Pony Express 100, Bear, Chimera 100.
Of more than 100 100-mile races, about 13,000 miles.
I struggle with a fear of failing, like I got to prove stuff to myself.
Fueled in part by those powerful emotions from his youth.
You know, I think it's all bottled up in the same whole kind of the whole story of his life. I think that drive to maybe right some of those wrongs in a way.
And if you study sports psychology, that edge, that anger, that not irritability, but that kind of like you got a point to prove with focus and preparation, that's the sweet spot.
Eric Johnson says that anger, when channeled properly, can take you far.
Magic's gonna happen.
Even more than 13,000 miles. Peter Rosen, KSL 5 News.
What a journey he's been on. I'd love to see that story. Thank you, Peter. Finally this morning, another inspiring story out of southern Utah. A St. George woman just set the record time for running 100 miles. Ashley Paulson recently completed a race in 12 hours, 19 minutes, 34 seconds. That's an 8-mile-an-hour pace for the entire 12 hours.
I think the hardest part of this journey has been to block out the haters and silence those keyboard warriors.
Now, Paulson says she's pushed back against cultural and social barriers. Many people tell her she should focus more time on her family. She was inspired by her father's story, who would run every day while she was growing up. We'll have more on her story you can catch on KSLTV.com. Thanks for joining us here on this segment of KSL News Now. We're going to leave you with a live look at downtown Salt Lake, waking up on this Thursday morning. As we've been talking about, we're in for a warm weekend. Clouds out there this morning, sure, but that's all going to clear out, and you've got a warm day ahead. Download the free KSL Plus app for any updates you may want on your news, headlines, weather, and traffic. We'll, of course, see you right back here tomorrow morning.